Hello, everybody. Welcome to Intuition Sundays. This is the third time that we're trying to get to the end of this beautiful conversation with Cristina about the book that is called Intuitive Eating. So I couldn't save the previous part, so we're gonna have a quick overview about what we discussed and then we continue of intuitive eating. So Cristina is connecting. Hello. Welcome back again. We can make it. We do better always, sometimes, like, unforeseen events. Okay, so
Hi.
so because I want to record this conversation, we're gonna go over what we just talked very quickly. I was asking Cristina why she started the book club and why she started with this book 1 year ago. That was the first time I ever found this book, and it was in a moment of my life that I really needed it because I was really obsessing about food. And the curious thing is that we started reading it throughout the Christmas holidays and New Year's Eve, which is a moment where the food is really one of the main presence in everybody's life. And I really didn't want to read a book about what I thought in my mind was, again, some sort of dieting or nutritional morality. But in fact, this book, it is not. It was actually very, very helpful, especially during this time of the year, because it actually liberates you from any possible guilt that you might have around food, right? So more or less we
For
were
sure.
talking about this, and I asked Cristina, and maybe if you can repeat for us, how was your relationship before and after the book, just to give an idea and how much this book can influence our lives.
Ooh, before reading the book and after reading the book, it's like night and day. Before reading the book, I struggled a lot with my relationship with food. I always felt guilty after eating and after eating a big meal, and I thought like I was less holy if I ate too much, or if I couldn't keep to small meals. And I think there's this whole thing about society just trying to encourage women to stay as thin as possible. And so I was always trying to stay into like a super thin physique. And after reading this book, and also after exiting the yoga industry, I have broken a lot of those patterns. So broken a lot of the patterns of feeling guilty just whenever I ate. And yeah, I feel a lot more happy and content in my relationship with food now, night and day.
Yeah, for me, it's the same. In fact, the obsession that I had before reading the book, I have to say, was triggered a lot by the yoga industry. And yeah, like the spotlight on the bodies. Um, and even if it was more towards, like, it was, of course, about appearance, but also about being healthy, like all the time, like this super obsession also about vegan and vegetarian, which by the way I approve totally, but it can go into limitations that triggers emotions that then are just more less beneficial than and it's not the yoga. Let's say the yoga is about, right, compassion. And so what the book gave me personally, it was like I returned to love for my body and like ultimate acceptance of my body shape. I realized by reading the book that I was always trying to be thinner. Even when I was not trying, I was like feeling guilty because I wasn't trying. So,
Mm.
and it was really this ultimate acceptance that gave me the freedom that now I have. And I'm super excited about rereading it because, of course, it's one of those like diet culture and food restriction. It's so ingrained from when we're kids in our society that just read, it takes time to override all these programs and all these, um, yeah, beliefs. And so rereading it again with you is exactly what I need. And this is why we decided also to open another book club, and because I really feel that spreading this book amongst women, but also men, but especially women, because we know we are especially targeted by the beauty industry and diet industry. So I'm super happy for any woman that discovers this kind of work. Are you
Yeah,
there?
I think also,
Okay, great.
yes, I'm here. I'm here.
That's
Yay,
perfect.
we're
I'm
still
checking because
connected.
great.
Okay, I hear you on the body acceptance piece, and to be honest with you, I'm still working on that piece. It's not perfect, which is why I'm like, I feel like I need to read this book again, and what better time again than over the holiday season. Um, and I think it's not just women and it's not just men, it's also like my parents' generation. Like they're every time I talk to anyone who's a baby boomer, to be honest with you, they're always trying to lose 5 to 10 pounds. And everyone and a lot of people in the LGBTQ community also struggle with
Mhm.
eating disorders. And I think it's almost society's, for me, it's almost society's way, like bigger macro level, society's way of keeping us small. And so it's that programming that you're talking about, right? Of we've taken that in and we just pay all this money to the diet industry and get super obsessed, like stressed out obsessed with being healthy and dieting. And this book helped me to put the words that I was observing, put to words everything I was observing growing up in Southern California, where everyone is like super healthy, but also like really secretly super stressed out. And also things I
Exactly.
was seeing in the yoga industry as well about like orthorexia, people who are so obsessed with being healthy that it's a form of disordered eating, and
100%.
yeah, and all that stuff. So I think on a micro level, we've absorbed what's happening in society, and have decided, okay, we need to make ourselves as small as possible. And actually, what if we could flip that script and embrace our bodies for just honor them for the amazing things that they are and keeping us alive. And honestly, it's still a struggle for me to like
Hmm.
continue to unravel all
Of
of
course.
this stuff that I've been dealing with for so long, you know what I mean? And I think also part of it is my own mother had an eating disorder most of her life, and I think as the as her child, I'm trying to heal. I didn't know this until recently, but I think subconsciously I'm trying to heal this eating disorder that she herself couldn't heal, if that makes sense. Like I've
Yeah,
taken this
amazing.
on as like my own thing.
Wow. Yeah, so you don't pass it through onward, right? My mom
Yeah.
did the same, I think. She had like not officially, but yeah. I mean, I think we all have to like I know one person, one friend of mine that she's a real natural, by the way. She didn't work on it, but intuitive eater. Um, Anyone else has some sort of limiting belief around their bodies, their food. Um, yeah, it's just out there, and I think it's about again not listening to your own intuition. That's why it's called intuitive eating. It's like asking a nutritionist, what should I eat? Asking the latest diet paradigm, what should I eat? What is good for me? Instead of really sit down and eat something, a fruit, an ingredient, a dish, whatever it is, and then pause for a second and feel if that food is good for you, because we are
Mm.
so different. And again, it's like regaining the authority over our body and so over our food, because what is good for me, it's not good for you. And this is what everybody has out there is trying to tell you, that, oh, even if I tell you, okay, I feel so good eating this, it doesn't mean like on any level that the same food will make you feel good. It's like we are so special, all of us, so unique. And so I think that this is what intuitive eating is. It's like moving like the attention from outside to inside. And of course, it's way more difficult than just having imagine someone telling you, oh, okay, you have to eat 200 grams of this and 100 grams of that, and you just have to follow orders. We're so used to follow orders all the time. And here it's like the book is about taking this radical responsibility over of yourself and feel.
Empowerment.
So 100%, 100%. But of course, it's hard. And
And
for us,
we're
it's been a year that we are on this journey. Please go ahead, go ahead.
we're all, I think it's interesting because it's like we're all born intuitive eaters, actually, right? Um, if you feed a kid candy for 10 days, they're going to eventually get sick of it and be like, give me a carrot. um, I don't officially know, I'm not a parent, but like I could tell you from my experience as a kid,
Yeah.
I had a wide palate, and that was just natural. I was curious about foods. And then, I'm now on a path in my mid 30s of unlearning everything that happened in my, like, from when I was 8 years old onwards, of this stuff we absorb. And yeah, so
Yeah.
we all
There
start
is a
out
full
as intuitive
chapter
eaters,
in
and
the
it's getting
book.
back to that.
Exactly. I mean, kids are natural yogis, natural intuitive eaters, and then with age, we ruin them. The mind kicks in and ruins everything. And
Yeah,
intuition gets kind of forgotten. In the book, there is
cut
one
off.
full chapter about parenting intuitive eaters, basically, and it's very interesting. If for any of you out there that are parents, it's very, very, very useful, I would say. Okay, so let's go over the 10 principles of intuitive eating. We talk briefly about them. Know that in the book, each principle has at least one full chapter. So that's when you really start integrating, by reading all of it. And we're just gonna briefly touch on them and see if maybe they resonate with you. Yeah. So number one, of course, number one is reject the diet mentality. As simple and as difficult as that. It's about, of course, recognizing all those dialogues that are going on in our minds that are not actually ours. It's all the diet industry and the magazines and the TV shows, TV commercials have been repeating over and over and over again. So number one is try to reject that. Number two, honor your hunger. Cristina, do you want to talk about
Honor
it a
your
little
hunger.
bit?
Yeah. So for me, this is a big one because it meant don't wait. If you're hungry, don't wait to eat. Eat. Eat if you're hungry, and honor that, because before I would wait and wait and wait and try to put my mind over my body, and think that by waiting and by making that sacrifice of no, I'll eat in an hour or 2 hours or whatever, I would be somehow more virtuous. So that's a big one. Honor your hunger.
Yeah, that's a big one. As women, we always try to starve ourselves, basically. So, number three is make peace with food. This is another big one. Like, think about the food that you love the most, but you shouldn't eat. Like,
Mm,
if I think about that food, for me would be something like Nutella.
mm.
I
Piece
love
of
it,
cake.
but I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't. Yeah, sugary stuff for me, the sweet. And you shouldn't. And the more you are at war with that food, the more it's gonna stay in your mind, and the more you're gonna crave
Mm,
it, and then it's just a loop. Whereas if we stop labeling a food like bad or good, that's where when we reach a neutrality, and we can get to the intuition of the body, and the body will tell us immediately if in that moment we want the cookie or we want the carrot. Okay, and it's not because one is bad and one is good, it's because the body needs A or B. So that's really
yeah.
super liberating for me as a principle. Number
I think
4,
that leads straight
challenge the
into
food
number
police.
4.
Yeah, challenge the
Yeah.
food police.
Challenge the food person. So I think we all have a part of ourselves, or actually a few different parts of ourselves that are inner critics, right? And um, these inner critics will just speak shitty stuff on us for eating that piece of cake or the cookie or whatever, for whatever food decisions we make in the moment. And it's challenging those policing parts of us that are just doing it out of love, right? Because they've kept us safe to some extent, but looking at them from a more objective point of view, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and not getting swept away by the food
Yeah,
police.
because the food police. Yeah, and it's not necessarily the food police is sneaky, because it's not necessarily always negative. Sometimes the food police will tell you, if you eat only a salad, will tell you, you're such a good girl, you only ate a salad today, right? It's also positive, but with a very judgmental, uh,
Yeah.
backfire kind of thing. So it's
Things are
really
good or
tricky.
bad.
Okay, again, exactly. Number 5, discover, oof, this is big. Discover the satisfaction factor. Again, it's about rediscovering the pleasure
Enjoying
around
whatever
food.
it is you're eating.
Uh, exactly. Like it's yeah, I would say it's pure emotional, mental pleasure that we're talking about with this mm, principle.
Yeah.
Because again, if I have to think about myself just before starting the book a year ago, there wasn't pleasure anymore. Even when I was eating what I wanted to eat, then there was the guilt right after, and so everything was being destroyed immediately.
Yeah.
So
I
number
feel
6,
like the
feel
guilt
your
the
fullness.
guilt really cancels out the
Sorry.
pleasure that we're supposed to get from food, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
Number 6, feel your fullness. Do you like that? Do you
Feel
want to
your
talk about
fullness.
that?
So, yeah, this is not how do I explain this one? This is actually feeling the food in your belly. And I think this is one of the pieces that yoga can help with. Yoga and meditation is that body awareness piece of knowing when
Mm,
you feel like, oh, okay, that's where I'm full, or that's kind of like my comfortable limit, or that's like maybe you go past the comfortable limit, and that's my, ooh, if I eat any more than this, I'm gonna feel sick. So feeling your fullness and then appreciating that fullness instead of feeling bad about it. Like, oh, I ate too much immediately after feeling your fullness. No, it's just feeling your fullness and enjoying the feeling of,
yeah.
wow, I got food in my body.
Mm, yeah. Let's say, I think if the previous principle is more about the emotional, the mental, this is about the physical layer. Like, just become aware. practice that physical awareness
Yeah.
of feeling when you are
Yeah.
full for real.
Yeah.
Number
I think the
7,
previous layer is
this,
also physical as well, though. The previous layer, the discover the satisfaction
yes, true. Yeah,
factor.
you're right.
If I'm not using my taste buds to taste my glass of wine or the risotto, like I'm, it's not going to be as satisfying, right? And that's very physical
Yeah,
as
you're
well.
right. You're
Smelling the
actually
food,
very right.
seeing the food, seeing the colors, like really engaging with the food with your all your senses, like that is the satisfaction factor for me.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. So both are physical as well.
Mm.
Number 7, cope with your emotions with kindness. Okay, so this one for me was a big breakthrough because when I started reading this chapter, I was like, I'm not an emotional eater. I don't eat out of, anger or no, it never happened to me. And then by reading through the chapter, I was like, okay. Actually, it was the opposite. After reading the chapter, and I noticed that when I was going to the kitchen to grab for like a, a cookie, a cracker, even something healthy, let's say, whatever. I was out of the main meals, let's say. I was thinking, okay, why am I doing this? And usually it's when I stand while eating. I was like, I don't sit down, I don't prepare anything. I'm just here standing and just putting one thing after the other in my mouth. What is this? And
Mm.
then I realized most of the time when this was happening was about emotion, especially boredom for me. For me, it was a lot. The boredom
Mm.
triggers snacking, eating, binging, this kind of thing. So I was like, oh my God, I am an emotional eater after all. So now I'm
Yeah,
aware of it.
same. The boredom is a big one. Or for me, it's as well, it was like if I didn't want to feel a strong emotion, I would go to food
Mm-hmm.
to sort of distract. Like
To
the
numb.
eating would distract. Yeah. Somehow distract the sensations of eating would
Mm-hmm.
distract whatever else emotions were happening in my body. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is a big one. I'm still working on this one, to be honest.
Of course, this is big. And what I like about the chapter on this principle is they don't say, "Oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't eat your emotions." Okay? They say, "Observe. When you eat, there might be an emotion behind. Be kind." In fact, the principle is cope with your emotion with kindness. It's not all it's not judgment. It's okay, be kind. You recognize now the emotion, eat whatever you want, and then start dealing with your emotion whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
Because of course the
you're
emotion will not
totally
go
right.
away with food. This is the truth. And it's not that we are like uh positively bypassing the thing. No, it's like just be kind while you eat and recognize the emotion behind it. And whenever you're ready, you will deal with the emotion. So I really like this compassionate approach.
Yeah. Number
Yeah.
8, respect your body.
Number 8.
Yeah. Respect your body. This one is a tough one. I feel like I'm still working on this one, to be honest. And I go through times where it's easier to respect my body and all it's done for me throughout the years, when I was subsisting on caffeine and cigarettes most of the time. And
Mm.
other times it's hard to respect my body because it's not doing what I want it to do.
For me, this one was as I said before, the one of the biggest change. I really have to say that I started respecting my body after the book. a year ago. This principle was the game changer for me. And of course, I fall back to the old mentality every now and then when I'm, more in a negative time frame of my life, maybe. But then I come back and I really like hug myself and I tap on my shoulder and say, you're doing a good job, buddy. So, yeah, that's big for me.
Yeah,
I love it.
keeping us alive.
Yeah. Number 9, movement. Feel the difference. That's another big one. Because, of course, do we move? Do we exercise to punish ourselves for last night's dinner? Or do we go to the gym, go to yoga asana, go to whatever, swim, because we like it? We like to actually move. So that's the main question to ask ourselves to understand this principle. Why am
Yeah.
I going to the gym? Why am I
And
going jogging? Mm.
I was always asked this question when I taught yoga is, will yoga help me lose weight? And I'm like,
Oh my God, yes.
I don't want to answer that question. My advice to people was always like, I wouldn't do the workout that enables me to lose the most weight. What I would do is do the workout and the sports and the movement or the whatever classes you enjoy because you enjoy them. And the more you have fun in the way you move in your practices, the more you'll stick to it, right? So that's what this chapter is all about, is move, not to punish yourself for whatever you ate, but to preemptively burn the calories that you know you're going to consume later, but to move because you have this body that's amazing and it can do all these amazing things, and enjoy this temple you have.
Exactly. Yeah. Big difference. And then number 10, honor your health, gentle nutrition. Cristina, go ahead with this one. Ooh, and the bee is back, my friend.
Honor your health, gentle nutrition. So this one, gentle nutrition, it's about like having variety and enjoying, not just like, I feel like when people hear the word intuitive eating, they think, oh, all they eat are cookies and ice cream. And actually it's honoring the spectrum of your palate and having colorful foods and choosing the healthier options when you can, but doing it gently, right? And not policing yourself with the healthy options. So that's what gentle nutrition is all about.
Yeah,
I
we can say
felt.
that the last principle really, really embraced all the other 9, right? Like you will get there naturally if you start implementing the first 9.
Yeah. And
Right.
what I remember from the 10th principle, this honor your health, gentle nutrition, was if you're struggling with the first 9 principles, continue working on those first 9 principles and we'll come to 10 later. 10 will happen naturally later.
Exactly. Great. So
Yeah.
more or less, these are all the principles that the book touches. And of course, every principle is really explored in depth. And every Zoom call that we're going to have during the book club will be a conversation and a sharing time around each principle for all the participants of the book club. And that moment is really, really making the difference for me on top of the book. This is like, as Cristina was saying, it's a difficult book. It's a long one. In fact, we are gonna read it over 8 weeks, so we really are gonna take our time. And it's very difficult to read it alone. I don't think I would have. I tend to finish the books. I don't like to leave them halfway, but this one, I think it's very difficult to finish on your own. It's because because it's intense and there is a lot of triggering moments, and you might feel alone, and it's very repetitive in a way that, though it's not a negative thing, it's when you have to learn something. Repetition, repetita juvent, they say in Latin. Like repetition helps to remember, memorize, and integrate. So I really recommend you to read it with a group of people. If you cannot join this book club, maybe find other friends to read it with. For our book club, we're gonna meet starting from next week on Wednesday, right? Wednesday 14. Dubai time is 8:30 p.m. Cristina, please correct. Okay, 8:30
Yep,
p.m.
8:30 p.m.
Dubai time. We're gonna meet for around 90 minutes, and every week for 8 weeks. Am I forgetting something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's $40 to join, and that
Oh
doesn't
yes.
include the cost of the book, wherever you're
Yeah.
getting your book. We're reading the fourth edition of the book, and yeah, basically how it works is we read 2 or 3 chapters, and then we get together each week after reading those couple chapters and meet on Zoom live and discuss and integrate and talk about how those chapters were relevant or not for us. And that that discussion piece was so key for me, because like Enrica said, if I had read and finished this book on my own, I would have probably not applied the concepts really as much as I would have if I had done it in a group.
100%. And Cristina is leading other book clubs. Now we're gonna do this, but in the future she's gonna propose more. So where can people find you and stay updated if they want to participate to future book clubs?
So here on Instagram, my handle is Cristina Najjar. And then also my website is www.cristinanajjar.com, CRIS. And yeah, basically the same way you spell it here.
You have a newsletter, do you? Are you using it?
I have a
for the book
newsletter
club?
too. So if you go on my Instagram, in my bio, you can sign up for my newsletter.
I think that's the best way, because sometimes we don't see the post appearing. So I am
True.
on her newsletter. So I will know every time there is a new book. Okay, we
Yeah, and
made it.
they're always body-based, intuitive,
Mm,
centered books, like embodiment books, right? Because that's what I'm into. And usually nonfiction, because
yeah,
that's what I personally struggle with reading.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I'm following all of them. I think I miss only one of yours. The topics are always super interesting. So thank you for the curation, the selection of your books. Okay, so we made it till the
I
end
can't
without
wait.
interruption. See, me too, me too. It's only in a week. No, less. No, it's in a week. It's in 10
In
days.
10 days.
14th of December. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Cristina, for joining us. And there's gonna be another Intuition Sunday next Sunday. Just stay tuned. Ciao. Have a good day or evening, actually, for you. Bye.
Bye.